So, we say a lot around here, you can't judge a book by its cover. And we also say you can't judge a book by its first chapter. But why are we judging at all? I heard somebody say the other day, God is a just judge. And I think, God doesn't need to judge. I mean, God is too busy loving. I think we least resemble God when we're judging. Because God doesn't judge, because God is understanding. God is compassionate. So there's no need for judgment. And that's kind of a key thing, it seems to me. But nobody believes this about God. We want to trade in our judgment and kind of embrace understanding and compassion. Years ago, I was invited to give a talk to like 1,000 teachers at a conference in Palm Springs. So I brought two homies with me, Manny and Saul. And I was going to give a keynote to all 1,000 of them. And then in the afternoon, we were going to do a workshop. They asked us to do a workshop on mentoring. So I told Manny and Saul I wasn't going to speak at that one. I would let them do it. So get up, tell your stories, and talk about mentoring. Maybe talk about a mentor in your life. And so there were about 100 people at that one. And Manny gets up first, and he's covered in tattoos now. He's his vario is etched every imaginable way on his face, on his forehead, on his cheeks, across his neck. Old English writing, Roman numerals. It was every imaginable way he wrote his neighborhood on his face. And the face seemed to invite the audience to judge him. In fact, I watched the audience. They're all like with their arms folded and they weren't budging. So he told some of his story. He said, his family was kind of chaotic, and his parents were drug addicts and gang members and sold drugs, and the house was kind of a drug house and a gang hangout. So at 9, he ran away from home. And then he told this audience of 100, my sister told me, it took my mom 1 month to ask this question. Hey, has anybody seen Manny? 1 month, he says. Imagine. So then he got to the part of the mentor, and he said, I had a mentor named Rafa. He was older than me. He was like 17, and I was like 6. And every day he'd come and he'd rescue me because he knew what my house was like. And he walked me to school every day. And he gave me good advices. And, he'd say, don't do drugs and don't get in the gang, and see that alley, don't go in there, and see those guys across the street, stay on this side of the street. Yeah, he gave me good advices. In fact, once he said to me, I'm going to graduate from high school, so will you. I'm going to college, so will you. Then I'm going to go to medical school, and I'm going to become a doctor. Then I come back, and I'm going to take you with me, and you'll be my son. And then Manny kind of entered this little trance for a time, and there was some kind of emotional disintegration that was beginning. And then he said, one day Rafa came to pick me up, and we were walking to school like he always did, and the guys across the street were there, and one of them started to yell, "Where are you from?" And Rafa says, "Man, ignore him, just keep walking." And the guy said it again, "Where are you from?" And Rafa says, "We're not from anywhere." And then suddenly the guy was standing right in front of us. And he looked at Rafa and he said, "I asked you a question." And suddenly my face was splattered with blood and pieces of Rafa's brain. And he was lying on the ground, and his eyes were wide open. And he was gasping for air, but I couldn't do anything. I was 6. And by the time anyone came to help, he was dead. And then he doubles over, and he just sobs and he wails. And he won't stop crying, and the whole audience is stunned and silent. Until finally he stood up and he looked at them and he said, I didn't speak one word for a month. I did not talk for 30 days. Imagine. And suddenly the audience found itself in a place of lavish forgiveness at what the sight of Manny led them to think when they first laid eyes on him. You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a book by its first chapter. And why are we judging at all? We least resemble God when we do. And so we choose to trade in our judgment for compassion and understanding. Thank you. Edwin.